Hi, I'm Doug Johnson, and this is White Trash Talking. I follow events closely in the Middle East, and I rely on various alternative media for information. These days, I follow former high-ranking military people like Colonel Lawrence Wilkerson, Colonel Douglas McGregor, United States Marine Corps Captain and former State Department official Matt Ho, and Lieutenant Colonel Karen Kwiatkowski, as well as former intelligence officers such as Scott Ritter, who was also a weapons inspector during the Iraq War, former CIA analysts Phil Giraldi, Larry C. Johnson, and Ray McGovern. I also rely on academics such as Professor Jeffrey Sachs and Professor John Mearsheimer, not to mention independent journalists and writers such as Aaron Mate, Max Blumenthal, Chris Hedges, Glenn Greenwald, Katie Halper, George Galloway, and more. Today I want to look at what Jeffrey Sachs and Scott Ritter have to say about the impending war between Israel and Iran, and compare that with what prominent U.S. Senator Lindsey Graham is saying. I've been horrified about the rampant violence, and I'm terrified about what's coming. Let's listen to Jeffrey Sachs' response to a notice that Israel sent out just yesterday.
I want to read you the latest from Israeli Channel 14. This is just about an hour and a half old. Israel's retaliation against Iran will not be moderate. Instead, it will be significant and will likely cause Iran to respond. Israel will need to prepare for a significant exchange of blows that might drag the Americans in, which Iran certainly would not want. Israel will attack Iran before the U.S. elections. Netanyahu approved the attack plans on Iran, and the attack is expected soon. What do you think?
Well, what's clear is that Netanyahu is trying to draw the U.S. into a war with Iran. If such a war occurs, it would be devastating, first to Israel, by the way, but possibly escalating to world war. Netanyahu has been trying for this for 30 years. He has been clear about it, that the United States should go to war with Iran for Israel's sake. The United States has done just about everything that Netanyahu has asked over the last 30 years. I think history will record that Netanyahu has been one of the most destructive people in modern history, one of the most reckless, one of the most shameless and cynical, one of the most murderous. And I think history will record that the United States has done his bidding. And Netanyahu, I think we will find more and more, has been at the center of all of this. His grand prize has been Iran. Now he has a president who is at least politically senescent, if not physically so, we don't know. But he thinks that this is his moment of maximum leverage, and he personally seems determined to start a full-fledged war with Iran.
As someone who used to live and work in Jenin and used to cross over into Israel any chance I got, I'm saddened by not only what Israel is doing to its neighbors, but also to itself. If left alone, Iran would not harm anyone, but neither Israel nor the U.S. will leave Iran in peace. Jeffrey Sachs continues.
Israel is getting itself into something that is horrifying, actually.
This will result in the deaths of so many innocents. Is there no force in Israel, the IDF, the Mossad, that can stop Netanyahu from this wanton killing of innocent human beings?
My guess is that Netanyahu can get his way inside Israel. The one that can stop it and the one that should stop it, of course, is the United States. Netanyahu is not talking about Israel going to war with Iran. He's talking about the United States going to war with Iran. Why are we dealing with this guy at all? Why are we letting him destroy Gaza, kill tens of thousands, commit acts of genocide, invade Lebanon, and now threaten to provoke a full war that he desires with Iran. Why are we letting him do this at all? Where is American foreign policy? This is really the question. Israel has been mass murdering people in the last couple of days in Gaza, in bombing throughout Lebanon, including villages in North Lebanon, including Beirut, including places closer to the border with Israel in southern Lebanon. The death toll is absolutely staggering. A lot of Israelis are going to be killed. A lot of Israelis are going to be killed if Netanyahu continues in this way, if the Israeli government continues in this way. We should be sitting at the negotiating table to stop the mass slaughter of people on both sides. That's what's coming if we continue the direction we're going.
What amazes me is that the U.S. does not negotiate anything anymore. The Biden administration doesn't even try to talk to Iran, or Russia, or China, or anyone. They've even curtailed the means to communicate, which is extremely dangerous. Now I want to look at Scott Ritter's take on what's coming.
Well, first of all, I think that Israel is probably going to attack Iran. There was a period of time up until this morning, or I guess yesterday, that I thought that Netanyahu might be playing a game of putting pressure on the Biden administration to get as many concessions out of the Biden administration as possible, following through on his gambit back in July to come to the United States, talk to the United States Congress, wrap himself in the American flag. And the Biden administration was putting a pretty substantial package on the table, basically saying the sky's the limit on military equipment you'll never want, and we will back you, till hell freezes over diplomatically. You'll never have to worry about anything out of the United Nations, and America will seek to quash anything that happens in the International Court of Justice, International Criminal Court. We've got your back. Just don't strike Iran. Because our goal being the United States, the Biden administration, is to prevent a major global crisis in the lead up to a critical national election, where the legacy of the Biden administration's on the ballot. Kamala Harris is, to be the successor of the Biden presidency, and one would think that the Biden administration wants her to win, and so that they are going to do that which is necessary to prevent the kind of crises that could derail the Harris election. One of the big crises that could do that would be a global economic meltdown triggered by energy insecurities, triggered by a regional conflict that put energy production facilities in the entire Middle East at risk. Iran has said that if its oil production sites are hit, it will take out the oil production sites of all the Middle East oil producing countries. That's that. They've also said that if you strike our nuclear facilities, this is an existential thing. And here's the story that I think most people are missing right now. Iran has said that if Israel attacks it, Iran is going to hit Israel with 1,000 missiles, 2,000 missiles. And they're going to take out over $100 billion of pre-designated infrastructure targets, which they've already identified. Basically, Iran is going to turn out the lights permanently in Israel, prevent Israel from having fresh running water, disrupt communications, energy distribution, energy production. Israel will be turned into returned to the Stone Age. That's Iran's promise. Somehow Israel and the United States believe Iran is bluffing, because that represents an existential threat to Israel, and Israel's existential response is the Samson option, is nuclear weapons.
It sounds like what he's saying is that if Israel attacks Iran's oil or nuclear sites, there will likely be a nuclear war. Everyone should be paying attention to this. Scott Ritter is a military analyst, and he knows about Iran's nuclear capabilities as well.
If Iran is going to produce nuclear weapons, they can't do it in a manner which requires long lead time. It has to be able to be acted upon instantly, which means they front-loaded the system. That means that Iran has produced a nuclear device minus the fissile core. Right now, Iran has a significant stockpile of uranium hexafluoride, which is the feedstock to the centrifuges that enrich uranium. They have a significant stockpile of it enriched to 60%. The IAEA a while back said that this is enough for 3 to 5 bombs. There might even be more material now because Iran hasn't stopped the production of this. Iran has specially configured centrifuges that can turn that 60% into 96 to 98% in a very short period of time. These are modern centrifuges, highly efficient, and it'll be done almost instantly. But they can take a gun design, put it on a warhead, and deliver that warhead to Israel. And I think right now Iran has the missiles capable of carrying this device has been built. It's not sophisticated. It has been built, and all that's needed is to insert the fissile material, and you've got a weapon. That decision's been made. They've already done it. They're front loaded. So here's the news flash. Iran is a nuclear weapons power.
How many people know this? This is certainly news to me. This is not going to end well. And the danger is further compounded by recent changes in the U.S.'s nuclear deployment plan regarding Iran.
Because Donald Trump, again, most Americans don't reflect on this. When he was president, he changed America's nuclear posture and the American nuclear employment plan. And he allowed 2 new categories of weapons to be built, specifically for the purpose of taking out the Firdos underground nuclear facility in Iran. Because either we were going to have to hit Iran with a 700 kiloton weapon or 150 kiloton weapon, which is a huge thing, and the consequences of that you can't even. Or we use what we call a usable nuke. Two weapons were designed. One was a B-60, a variant of the B-61 gravity bomb that we have, and we built a B-61 that is a bunker buster, a penetrator, so it's able to burrow into the ground before it goes off and creates the over compression that can do it. This bomb specifically was designed and built for hitting Iran. And Donald Trump knows this because he's the one that put it into play and made it part of our nuclear employment plan. He's the one that knows that one of the option cards that the president will get when the suitcase is opened up is, to send B-2 bombers equipped with B-61 bombs to strike Firdos. So here we have the president of the United States actively saying to Israel, use nukes against Iran, because he knows that we can't destroy it without nukes. And so Israel would have to use nuclear weapons to destroy it. So he's encouraging Israel to use nuclear weapons against Iran. Iran is aware of this. We are at a very serious moment in world history right now, where Israel is playing stupid games. Benjamin Netanyahu is literally gambling the lives of over 100 million people. Because that will be the casualties. I know Israel's 12 million, but when you talk about the damage that'll take place, over 100 million people will be killed by a nuclear conflict between Israel and Iran. Joe Biden had a 30-minute conversation with Benjamin Netanyahu, reading him the Riot Act, and Netanyahu told him to pound sand. He said, no, we are attacking. And so Biden now is trying to put pressure on Israel, demonstrating that the United States won't have your back. Now Israel has to calculate this, but Netanyahu is desperate right now. If they bomb Iran, it is the end of Israel. Literally, Israel will be turned into the Stone Age, and this will trigger an Israeli nuclear response, which will trigger an Iranian nuclear response. That's where we're at right now. It's no joke time. This is end of the world kind of stuff, and yet we're still playing stupid games.
This is why I'm not sleeping well at night. And it's not like we have many sane people in Washington. Biden is demented, his staff is beholden to Israel, and they do not represent the U.S.'s interests. In the Senate, we have idiots like Gomer Pyle's brother, Lindsey Graham. Let's listen to his vile ignorance spew from his fat face.
Our national security is in free fall. Morgan Ortega's made a very good point. Look at the record for the last 3 years. This is a symptom of a greater problem. We withdrew from Afghanistan. The Taliban took over in 2021. showing weakness, Putin invades Ukraine in 2022. In 2023, Hamas attacks Israel, killing more Jews than any time since the Holocaust. 2024, we're having Americans killed by Iranian proxies in the Mideast. They're pushing us all over the place. Our national security is in free fall. Here's what works. Hit something they value. Soleimani was killed with a single strike. He was their General Patton and Eisenhower. There was nothing left but a smoldering car and a ring finger. It worked. They got back in a box.
But wait a minute, just real quickly there, because the Admiral noted there were attacks on U.S. interests after that.
Yeah, but they are in a box. I don't remember it like this, 160 attacks. We killed one guy. We got out of the Iranian nuclear agreement. We cut their money off. They were the weakest they've been. Now they're the strongest and most provocative. Admiral, here's what we need to do. You need to hit something the Ayatollah values. His leadership team, like a Soleimani, or take him out of the oil business. If we hit their oil infrastructure, you don't need manned aircraft. They've got 4 refineries you can see from space. If you knock one of them out, they would stop this. Our American troops are in harm's way. If the goal is to deter Iran, you're failing miserably. If the goal is to protect American troops, you're not achieving your goal. If you've convinced Iran we don't want a wider war, they believe you. Oh, I don't want a war with you. They got the message. What they're not afraid of us. They were afraid of Trump. They're not afraid of us. Look what happened in Afghanistan in 21. Look what happened in Europe in 2022. 2023, Hamas attacks Israel. It is not working. We need to change our policy. People are not afraid of us. This idea of hitting hundreds of targets, it doesn't matter. The only Iranian we killed in Syria, Iraq, is some dumbass that doesn't know to get out of the way. We gave them a week's notice. So if there are another round of strikes coming, I hope they really will hurt Iran in their pocketbook or kill their leadership, because if you don't, nothing changes.
All right.
We got to drop a bomb on them. We got to nuke them because, my God, I'm Lindsey Stupid Graham, and I'm going to say this because I got to say something because I have no other ideas in my little addled brain. This man is sick. This man is a threat to humanity. This is a man who's a threat to the national security of the United States, who sits on the Armed Services Committee of the United States. Hey, come on. The citizens of South Carolina, get him out of office. This is an existential threat to America.
Well, why is it okay? Well, can I say this? Why is it okay for America to drop 2 nuclear bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki to end their existential threat war? Why was it okay for us to do that? I thought it was okay.
It's not okay, you sociopath.
Right. That's
mass
part of the
murder.
problem,
That's
right?
the point.
Yeah.
And of course, he can't be told that because you're not allowed to question the fundamental premise that we have the right to commit mass murder. You just can't do that on corporate TV.
Whatever you have to do to survive as a Jewish state.
Senator, again, military officials say the technology has changed. But let me ask you about how all
these
of this
military
could
officials
impact.
that you're talking about
Let me ask you
are
something.
full of crap.
And there you have it. This is what the U.S. has become. We are on the eve of destruction. This has been White Trash Talking, and I'm Doug Johnson.